Welcome to the Fight Night Daily Podcast with me, Spencer Oliver, and him, Mr. Johnny Nelson. Johnny, the weigh-in's done. What did you take from that, by the way, Ben Whittaker, Liam Cameron?
I've literally just jumped off the stage from Sky Sports. We've been streaming the weigh-in from day dot. I think what I took from it was Liam Cameron came in. I think he actually looks really, really trim. He came in on the I think half a pound under the weight, so he's happy and comfortable where he was at. I think for Ben, I think we're going to get a streamlined performance from Ben. Now, all the potential, all the dreams, all the things that we thought Ben was, the kind of fight he's potentially going to be, it was kind of derailed because he got a little complacent. He thought it was a done deal. He thought, I'll just get rid of this guy. He's trying to blast him out inside Riyadh, over in Riyadh, to try and steal the show. He learned a harsh lesson as a professional fighter, knowing I can't take any fighter lightly, regardless of what I think. You saw Mike Tyson do it with Buster Douglas, and so now he's learned a lesson. It's good he learned it in his 9th professional fight rather than his 19th professional fight at a world title fight.
Explain, when a fighter takes it, he thinks he's just got to turn up to get in there and win, and he turns up and he finds himself in a difficult fight. Yeah. Explain that mindset.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
How a fighter sort of has to deal with that.
And if you're a certain type of fighter that can change your game plan mid-fight, that's a talent. Because when you go into a fight and you think, I'm going to attack, regardless of what anybody else says, it's hard to change that mindset. Even if you're getting a beating, it's hard to change that mindset and start boxing defensively, offensively, back and forth. So for the first time I saw Ben, when he was fighting the first time, he was fighting off the front foot. And after about 3 rounds, I thought, what is he doing here? This guy's going to blow himself out. And you could see it. And I think Ben had got himself into a rhythm of just going forward, and he couldn't change it.
But do you think that was because he wanted to go in there and make a statement and show that he has got the power at this level? Or do you think that he tactically just got it wrong? Or did Liam Cameron just make him fight that way?
Spenny, I think he tried to go out there and steal the show. It was a perfect storm. Liam Cameron's thinking, you're not going to walk through me. I'm a down-to-earth kind of kid. I'm not going to be hustled by any of that BS that you come through. And that's what he meant. And then he's out there in Saudi. His excellence is there. All the pressing there. It's on a massive show. And then all of a sudden, Ben's thinking, I'm going to steal the show. And he didn't, he couldn't, and he struggled with it.
Well, this is a ceremonial weigh-in, yeah? This is going on now at 3 p.m. Why did we have a ceremonial weigh-in? Why didn't we have the normal weigh-in at normal time at 1 p.m? The guys weighed in at 10 o'clock this morning. What's the reasons behind
I hear the rumours flying left, right and centre. This was demanded by Ben's team. I hear the rumours that Ben's struggling with the weight. I hear the rumours that, all the fighters saying, why do I have to do this? Why should I do this? So I hear the rumours that it more favoured Ben than anybody else. And again, Liam says Ben was late, even though you said get here for 10 o'clock. We all weighed in. We hear these rumours. If it's true or not, these are the things, might be an indication that Ben may have to move up in about 4 or 5 fights time. We don't know.
Is that a concern, right? We had this 10-round, 12-round situation. Ben Whittaker got his own way. He got the 10 rounds. Why didn't he want to do the 12? When I know that the training is the same, but those last 2 rounds and penultimate rounds can be difficult.
Championship rounds.
That's when you got to bite down. Right, so that suited Ben Whittaker, so he goes 10. Now he comes in. We're hearing he was a few pounds overweight this morning. He comes in, the weigh-in's made earlier for him at 10, so he may be struggling tight at the weight. So if you get into those later rounds, you tire. So, does that sort of favour Liam Cameron going in?
I've got to kind of defend Ben Whittaker here in regards to this 10-round, 12-round thing. This wasn't a Ben Whittaker problem. This was a Ben Shalom problem. Ben Shalom's paperwork, whatever. He was the one that signed this off, and then he was caught out on it. But it reflects bad on Ben Whittaker because it's him that's arguing about it. If I was Ben Whittaker and this is what you agreed, it's not my problem, it's your problem. You deal with it. You take the heat. So Ben Shalom is the one that's got a problem here, not Ben Whittaker.
A fight of this magnitude, a fight of this level, and Ben Whittaker's his golden boy. How do you make that mistake?
You shouldn't make that mistake, and that's why he's getting vilified so bad. That's why he's getting hammered left, right and centre, because you think, how can you make such a rookie mistake at this stage in a fighter's career? And Ben himself, he's put his hands up. I saw him go on talkSPORT and say, you know what, I messed up. He's had to put his hands up to it. And it's been milked. But in reality, as fighters we know, 10 rounds and 12 rounds for Ben Whittaker and for Liam Cameron, it's no big deal. He's just saying, it's not my problem, it's your problem.
I've got one for you. What happens if Ben Whittaker loses?
I don't think it's the end of his career. I think we've seen fighters get turned over at the early part of their career and come back as world champions. I was one of them. We saw David Haye do it, getting knocked out.
Yeah, but it's the flamboyant style
I understand.
he comes off with. He's got a guy on the scales dressed as a teddy, mate.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. But you know what? He's
career.
a modern day fighter. He's a modern day fighter that understands this is show business. So the business of the fight game, he's got to put on the show, and he's also got to keep winning. He understands. So even though it was old school boxing snobbery thinking, what's all that about? This is show business. That's why his social media following jumped from 30,000 to 3 million. You know, because he understands the business of our sport as well. So I get it. I get where he's coming from. But you know, you've got to, if you put your neck on the block, it's going to get chopped if you make a mistake.
So if he loses, he can regroup and he can still come again. That's what you're saying.
Without a doubt. It's just the only reason why I can't is because of pride. But you know what? One of the fundamental problems I think is this hunger. Hunger's this. When you sign on a young fighter and you give him mad money to start off with, let's pick a round figure, I don't know, $500,000. You give him mad money to say that's a sign on. All of a sudden you've taken a bit away from that fighter, that hunger, that instinct, that catch a bus to a weigh-in, catch a bus to the gym. You're now driving to the gym in a Ferrari. This is hypothetical. But what I'm saying is you're taking something away from a fighter, and so therefore it's not inducive to a fight. It actually affects him. So I think, just my opinion, I think this has happened to Ben. And so the last fight against Liam Cameron has brought him down to earth and thinking, damn, what's happened there? Where some fighters, it ruins them.
And if he's the fighter we believe he is, he comes back, he regroups, and we see a better, more polished Ben Whittaker performance. Listen, Johnny, what excites you on the undercard? We've got some great fights on the undercard, by the way. Some big characters. Yeah. Elvis Oyoga. I love that guy, mate, by the way. He's really good. He's going in against Tyler Denny. Do you think he could do anything?
That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight. Tyler Denny, you know what? I rate Tyler. I love his story. Elvis Oyoga, he's naturally a bigger fighter, a bigger guy, and he likes to have a tear up. So I'm telling you now, don't be surprised, and I'm a fan of Tyler Denny's, but don't be surprised if you're a Denny fan, there's an upset. I also like the fight between Barry Goldsmith and Coleman. Coleman's career, he's very much like mine was. He's travelled all over the world and boxed in everybody's backyard, and that builds your confidence and self-belief up as a fighter. So that makes him a bogey man. And so fighters here in the UK, you think, I've got their number, I've done it, because he's done it by himself. Another exciting fight. Another fight, Fraser Clark, getting in there with Tete.
Too soon? Is it too soon?
For Fraser Clark,
dangerous, heavy-handed guy.
Well, Fraser Clark, 6 months. Fraser Clark's the one that we're all worried about, regardless of what you say. But
look, Johnny, what I'm saying is, like, we saw him out in Saudi against Fabio Wallin, and his face was disfigured. It caved in. We see him the following day at the airport, and they've done a tremendous job. That was 6 months ago. Is that enough time? Is the bone structure going to be strong enough? I mean, I know he says he's been sparring, but fighting's different, right? Yeah,
but his life goes on. For us, that's the last thing we saw of Fraser Clark. For Fraser Clark, he's had to go in sparring. He's had to have. I'm quite sure he's spoken about it. He's had to have some kind of mental therapy about it to get his head over it. His family have, his close circle of friends have. You know, listen, if it was 6-7 rounds of a beat and a shellacking, then you think there's a big issue here. It was one round, a shot got in, and then that happened. Our worry is, now what? Oh my goodness, what happens? We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching for his reaction. We're going to be watching for his speed, his hand-for-eye coordination. We're going to be watching for things, because that is the last thing we saw of Fraser Clark.
Cutler Eggington, that could be the fight of the night. WBC silver, super welterweight title on the line. Eggington, can he roll back the clock?
Yeah, he can. Eggington is like he's been around forever and a day. The kid's 31 years old, and he's got so much experience. This boy doesn't come to make up the numbers. He doesn't come to get anything, I want to get paid. He's coming to win. And if you stand there and want to warmonger with him, you are getting shellacked. But then you look at Cutler in his last fight against Steve McKenna. What a fight. What an aging fight. But he showed he's got bottle. He showed he's got fight in him. But you know what? If that fight ends up just like the McKenna fight, I'd actually favour Cutler. I'd actually favour the local boy, because I know for a fact he does that in his sleep.
Yeah. Listen, we got a fantastic undercard and intriguing top of the bill as well. I want to move on a little bit, right? I just want to get on to Chris Eubank Sr. Do you see him walking with Michael Watson? Michael Watson doing that mile. What did you make of his comments there? You know, we've got the big fight coming up next week, and his comments towards his son and about Conor Benn. What did you make of all that?
I think we saw a father talking about his son. We didn't see a promoter talking about his fighter, a manager talking about his fighter, a sparring partner talking about the fighter. You saw a father talking about his son. And when you're in your own home and you're getting a mouthful by your mum and dad, that's in the four walls. Junior got a mouthful from his dad publicly, and when that happened, we're all, oh my goodness. Now there's other things happening in the Eubank household. That's none of our business. But what I saw with Chris there, I saw a father chastising his son. Anything else is not our business, and it kind of spilled over to some whatever personal things are going on inside the house. But it was a father chastising his son. Now Chris did his own job. Chris did his own experience to get to where he got to be a world champion. His son's got to do the same. He's got to make his own mistakes. He's got to create his own path. He's got to create his own experience to get to the wisdom. And maybe in years to come and say, Dad, I did it my way, you did it your way. But look where we both ended up.
Do you know what? Staying on the son now, mate. Did you see that he paid all the undercard fighters from back in 2022 when the first fight was actually cancelled? Do you think that mugged Eddie off a little bit?
Mugged him off, mugged everybody off. Because what Chris did, when he mentioned it in the last press conference, I thought, why is that just slid on the radar? Why does nobody make a big deal of that?
That was a class touch,
That's
man.
a massive touch.
Yeah.
And so all of the promoters, all of the promoters that are out there, and all of the guys that have got the big bucks, and they're on the top of the card, and the fight that's fallen through, what Chris Bank Jr. did, to me was commendable. Because I've been one of those fighters that's turned up for a fight and the fight's been off the night before, and you think everybody's on AJ money. Not everybody's on AJ money. 5% of the fighters are on mad money. 95% of them fighters have to subsidise their career with a second job. So Chris doing that, he's basically saying, Eddie, Connor, come on, step up. These guys all with some developed amnesia. They've gotten deaf and they've forgotten, thinking, Anna. And it's up to the press and the public to put them under pressure and say, shame on you. If he can do it, why are you not doing it? If you love our sport so much, if you care for the fight so much, why are you not doing it? So when he did it, I'm like, you know what? That's a proper drop of the mic.
Absolutely. Listen, love the fight, hate the fight. You were intrigued in it. You're engrossed in it.
Yeah.
Who wins?
Woo. I wasn't impressed with Chris's last performance, if I'm honest with you. And I think his last performance, if Conor Benn got in there with him, I think Conor would have stopped him. I think the first 6 rounds suits Chris. And then if it gets past that, I think the ferociousness, the constant pressure from Conor gets in the fight. So if it's early, you side towards Chris because Conor will walk into a shot.
Let's move on to rumour time. I'm hearing little rumours. I can hear little tweets coming out there. July the 12th, you heard anything about that? July the 12th?
I heard it through the grapevine.
Certain heavyweights, a certain undisputed heavyweight title fight. Daniel Dubois, Usyk, the return, Wembley Stadium. Is it happening?
I hear the same rumours that you're hearing, but I think it's a bold request. Because I think the only 2 people that kind of fill out Wembley Stadium, regardless, are Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Regardless, they have to be in one corner. So if that fight does happen, and if it does happen at Wembley, I will be very, 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 very surprised if they manage to get near the 90,000, or even the Carl Froch 80,000, or even the 60,000. I'd be very, very surprised because you've got to be a purist, you've got to be a fan to understand. I want to see that fight.
Undisputed, man, and people love an undisputed.
I get that.
For 25 years.
And Usyk's
now we might have 2 in a year.
And Usyk's done an unbelievable thing where he's turned the UK fans around, and he's like a fan favourite. But I just believe Wembley Stadium might be a bit big to fill. Good fight though.
Listen, you mentioned Tyson Fury, so got to do it. Where does he fit into the landscape of all this? Is he going to come back? Do we hear he's just starting a little bit of light training again? Does he want the winner of this?
I am one of the very few people that don't believe what he's saying when he's talking about he ain't retired. He's gone back to lick his wounds. He's gone back to think, all right then, okay, let's everybody develop amnesia. The Gypsy King's back. He never went anywhere. He never went anywhere. So now there's too much money on the table for he and Anthony Joshua to get in the ring, for it not to happen. And so. And the same with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's in great condition. So there's no speak of him getting him back in with Daniel Dubois. The conversation's done. So the fight that's the most important for those 2 is each other. Anybody else, and each time that happens, it takes another 10 mil off of them 2 fighting each other. So I think those 2 are dancing on the dance floor thinking, come on, who's going to make the first move?
Do we get that fight this year? Do you think we get AJ Fury this year? Because I think it's the obvious fight.
Yeah, I
for
do.
both of them.
I think towards the back end of the year, I think that fight happens. I think we get a mad announcement, and I think that fight happens towards the end of the year.
And that does Wembley Stadium.
That does the Wembley Stadium, without a doubt.
Brilliant. Listen, final prediction, Whittaker Cameron, who wins?
I think Ben Whittaker comes out with an astounding, sharp shooting performance.
Have you been swinging on this, by the way?
I have, mate. I have, mate. But when I saw him on the scale and looking at Liam Cameron, who's a Sheffield boy, and I love this kid to death. And so for me to say this, I'm putting my neck on the line because I've got to go out to Sheffield. But I think Ben Whittaker, too sharp, too smart, too clever. I think he made a massive fundamental mistake underestimating the man in front of him, and he had to learn the lesson the hard way. And I think the reaction from the general public has burnt him. And I think he puts on an amazing performance and gets the job done.
Brilliant, Johnny. As always, mate, thank you so much.
That's how we roll, baby.
That's it from us, from the weigh-in here in Birmingham. Can't wait till tomorrow. Guys, you can catch us across the talkSPORT networks from 7 p.m. or even better, watch us live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. See you then.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.